A pleasant afternoon all, and welcome to the launch of the Early Warning System in St. Maarten, a 𝒕𝒓𝒏𝒈𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒏𝒈 project. My name is Ilian Quirindongo, and on behalf of the Department of the Interior and Kingdom Relations, I will be your MC for today. First, I would like to provide you with an introduction to this project before I present to you the speakers that we have today. Challenges with effective communication and disaster warning dissemination due to low institutional capacities, diverse society, hilly terrain, redundant or damaged technology and equipment, and outdated legislations are current challenges St. Maarten is facing. This project takes a strategic and holistic approach by starting with an end-to-end framework and roadmap for establishing multi-hazard early warning system in St. Maarten. And it also aims to establish the most suitable, sustainable, and feasible technology for early warning. The results will be achieved through an institutional approach complemented by a technological approach. With the successful completion of this project, the technological component will address the lack of an existing early warning system as well as the development of a basic framework for early warning. Before we start with the presentation, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the following persons: our Prime Minister, Minister of General Affairs, and Authorizing Officer, Ms. Sylveria Jacobs. Head of Delegation of the European Union to Guyana, for Suriname, and with responsibility for Aruba, Bonaire, Curaçao, Saba, and St. Barthélemy, St. Eustatius, and St. Maarten, Ambassador Mr. René van Ness, who has joined us virtually. Welcome to the representatives of the European Union delegation. Welcome to the OCTs of Aruba, Curaçao, Bonaire, Saba, St. Eustatius, St. Barthélemy, and St. Maarten. Program Manager Resilience of the 𝒕𝒓𝒏𝒈𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒏𝒈 France, Mr. 𝑹𝒆🂂🂏 and the 𝒕𝒓𝒏𝒈𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏 team. The Manager of the Department of the Interior and Kingdom Relations, BAC, Ms. Angelique Gomes. Without further ado, I would like to give the floor now to the Ambassador, Mr. Van Ness, to start with his virtual presentation. We are experiencing some technical challenges, but Mr. Van Ness will connect in a few minutes.
Hallo, can you hear me? Kunnen jullie me horen? Kunnen jullie me horen?
Yes.
Ik wacht even op een signaaltje wanneer ik kan beginnen. Okay, very good. Okay, excellent. Let me start. I can't see anyone, so that makes it a little bit difficult. I will start. Honorable Prime Minister of 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓, dear focal points of the Caribbean, Dutch and French countries. Yes, now I can see the audience. Isn't that fantastic? I wish I could be there because I'm sure there's lots of people that I've met when I was passing through the region earlier. Unfortunately, that's not always possible. So great to be with you like this today, and great to be able to officially launch this project, Early Warning System for St. Maarten. It's a project indeed funded by 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓. I don't think I have to introduce 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓. 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓 is actually quite an incredible program, 42 million euro. That is almost unheard of, and I'm so proud that we have such a program. I'm not sure we will soon have a program of this magnitude again, so I really hope that it is a program that delivers programs, projects that are meaningful to you, that provide value added. It's a program implemented by Expertise France for the most part, about 39 million. The rest is implemented by the World Bank Technical Assistance, about 3 million. So under that program, we have 48 grants now in the different OCTs. And this is one of them, one that covers one of the 3 areas that 𝒚𝒂𝒄𝒉 stands for, and that's resilience. And you know that the other areas cover sustainable energy and marine biodiversity. I'm very happy that we can launch this project today. It's a project that fits a bigger involvement of 𝒚𝒂𝒄𝒉 in St. Maarten, because we also have a program that is fostering a resilient crisis management on St. Maarten, and another project that supports the operationalization of the Office of Disaster Management. Of course, the resilience and promoting resilience is very important for an island like St. Maarten, as you are so fragile to external shocks. I don't have to tell you how vulnerable you are for hurricanes, and I'm sure you still have living memories to Hurricane Irma in 2017, and that every year you must fear the hurricane season when that announces itself. So under such conditions, it is very important to have an early warning system that provides information in a timely manner that is crucial for people to take actions at the moment that they need to act fast. That can indeed save lives if that is done properly. So it's important to have a system in place that will generate and broadcast timely and accurate information to the population. It's also important that all the different services, the fire brigade, the police, the ambulance services, that they operate in good coordination. If you fail to do that, then indeed that will lead to a delay, that will lead to non-response, that will lead to response on the wrong place or the wrong moment, and all that during a time when quick action is of the essence. So this early warning system, and I'm sure that people will talk about this in a lot more detail, is exactly doing that. This system will build the foundations and the capacities for a comprehensive early warning system that will make that dissemination of timely information feasible. So delighted that as the European Union, we are able to provide a contribution that is so important to the people on St. Maarten. So this project looks at a holistic and a strategic approach to early warning and to provide technology that is suitable, that is sustainable, and that works in the context of St. Maarten. What I really like in the design of the project is that it is a program that is dovetailed and synchronized with the early warning systems in St. Maarten, sharing a territory together, and of course that makes St. Maarten absolutely unique. It is crucial that you share information, and often hurricanes don't stop at the border. I'm sure they don't. And so making sure that you communicate and that you inform each other is absolutely critical. What I'm also really happy to note is that also Saba and Statia will benefit from this early warning system. St. Maarten, as the somewhat bigger island, is of course much better able to provide quicker and a more efficient support to its neighboring islands and to warn them when impending disaster is looming. So I'm really happy that we are providing this support through 𝒚𝒂𝒄𝒉 to St. Maarten. We do this to other islands as well. We have a program supporting Aruba to improve comprehensive disaster management. And I still remember my visit to St. Barth, where I saw the very impressive systems that they have put in place there on disaster risk management, something that I really recommend others to have a look at as well. So let me conclude. Let me conclude by thanking, first of all, the Ministry of General Affairs and Department of Interior and Kingdom Relations, Expertise France, and all the other partners that have contributed to creating this program. And I'm sure that with all your dedication and support, you will make this a success. So I really look forward to our continued collaboration and indeed to my next visit to St. Maarten. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador Mr. Van Ness, for your opening statement. I would like to now give the floor to our Prime Minister, Minister of General Affairs, Ms. Sylvia Jacobs, for her remarks.
Thank you very much, Eliane. And also thank you very much, Ambassador Van Ness, though we're not seeing him anymore on the screen. We thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to, though you're not in St. Maarten, be with us virtually, as we can now appreciate that that is also a valid way of meeting and contributing. So thank you for your continued collaboration with St. Maarten. I must say that in listening to Mr. Van Ness, let me also extend also a warm welcome once again to all the OCTs currently on St. Maarten going through your working meetings. And I trust that in your second day that you have achieved as much as you've set out to, and that we continue to collaborate as one Caribbean, especially as OCTs within the Caribbean and small island developing states. In listening to Ambassador, luckily you have an iPad that has everything from how many years back. And I pulled up the first time that I was actively involved in listening and hearing about climate change, small island developing states, and it was at the symposium of our former governor in 2018, whereby climate change and small island developing states formed the basis for it. And listening to going back to the notes as to what St. Maarten needed to do, and I can name a couple of things: improve data collection, collaborate with other entities, network, of weather stations, radar to assist in early warning systems, monitor sea level rising, land use planning, building codes, disaster mitigation, seawalls, drainage systems, public education, so monthly newsletters, etc., and checking existing documents because St. Maarten already had several projects either done or ongoing. And I listen to and I look at where we are today. And I must say many of these boxes are being checked. And for that, I would like to give all involved a huge round of applause. The exact location of each box, however, would not be within my purview to disseminate in this discussion today. But let me just say that as St. Maarten, we have faced numerous challenges in communication and hazard warning. Limited resources, difficult terrain, outdated technology, damaged equipment even, and outdated legislation have historically hindered our ability to warn effectively and protect our people. To address this critical issue, we have established a comprehensive early warning system. I'm so happy that Ambassador already listed what 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓 stands for and how grateful we are for the collaborations with them, not just for this project, but several others. And it is indeed that previously efforts in this area were fragmented and lacked strategic and comprehensive approach. That is why we're so proud to be initiating this groundbreaking project that aims to create a framework and a roadmap for a multi-hazard early warning system right here on St. Maarten. Our goal is to identify the most suitable, sustainable system technology. In disaster management, the Ministry of General Affairs plays a crucial role. Under the leadership of our National Disaster Coordinator and Section Disaster Management, as well as, of course, the support of our policy department within BUC, the Interior and Kingdom Relations, we are working diligently to improve and coordinate development in this area. The challenges we face extend beyond governance and coordination, however, and so our geography, our climate, and our population diversity also pose unique obstacles and challenges. As was mentioned, our island is prone to hurricanes, flooding, as well as earthquakes. Certain areas lack spatial planning, but I must admit these are areas that are improving as we speak with proper legislation coming on board. This, of course, in the past, and unless it's addressed, will continue to increase human life risk. The devastation caused by Hurricane Irma and Maria in 2017 highlighted the need for a timely and standardized warning system. We must ensure that our residents as well as visitors receive accurate information to have informed decisions in times of crisis. And I must say, at least I can interject based on our last EOC meeting, that at least our Met Office now has up-to-date information thanks to the upgraded radar. Our Emergency Operations Center faces challenges developing efficient and effective warning strategies. We will continue to learn from past experiences and create a harmonized and institutionalized system that includes clear roles for all involved, the responsibilities, the messaging standards, and suitable technology. As was mentioned before, French St. Maarten has already implemented a color coding system as well as their sirens. So collaboration is indeed key. These are areas where we must collaborate, and I must say in my monthly meetings with our French counterparts that they have a vast interest in us collaborating, not only to ensure we have a synchronized system, but also in securing the necessary funding, also both as OCTs via the EU and other joint methods. I am super proud that we're able to continue to put forward this plan and to continue aligning with the national policies as well as our disaster risk management strategy and, of course, our national development vision. So we have collaborated with regional organizations such as the UNDP, SEDEMA, and the UNDRR. Their expertise in this region as well as with small island states, ensure that we receive the necessary support and guidance with international frameworks. We trust that this project will also leverage local resources and expertise. The Department of Interior and Kingdom Relations now serves as the focal point for the coordination and support, also within all our projects and policies, legislation as it relates to disaster risk management. We want to create the success stories that will help to build a momentum before rolling out the system to the entire population. So with that, effective communication, having learned from our past experiences, will play a key role as we roll out. We are also working to install signage in vulnerable communities to provide specific warnings about potential hazards. These signs will be linked to warning messages, ensuring our citizens will receive the information they need to stay safe. Ladies and gentlemen, our aim is clear: enhancing resilience in St. Maarten through the development of a robust early warning system. And I'm super happy to be able to launch this today. It will serve as a vital tool for disaster risk reduction and preparedness, and we are committed to addressing the challenges and ensuring our people's safety and security. Together with the support of our regional partners, of course, our collaboration with 𝒚𝒐𝒏𝒈𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒏𝒈, and the EU, as well as, in this case, the World Bank as well, we will continue being dedicated to the execution of this project, with the aim at the end to be able to put the systems in place to protect our people, and that they would understand the signage, the messaging, and be able to adhere to said warnings. With that being said, thank you, and may God bless all who have traveled as well as all here on St. Maarten.
Thank you, Prime Minister Ms. Jacobs, for your opening remarks. I would like to give now the floor to the Manager Department of the Interior and Kingdom Relations, Ms. Angelique Gomes, for her opening remarks.
Good afternoon. So, I'm pleased today to be presenting to you our Early Warning Systems project of St. Maarten. However, before I proceed, let me welcome the Prime Minister of St. Maarten, Minister of General Affairs, who's also the authorizing officer for this project. A virtual welcome to Ambassador van Ness, Head of Delegation of the European Union, and a special welcome to the EU focal points of the Dutch OCTs and St. Bart's. Special welcome to Fair and Sustainable Consulting, who has been supporting us thus far as we delve into the upcoming program period for funding from the European Union. Welcome to the representatives of 𝒚𝒐𝒏𝒈𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒏𝒈, and in particular Mr. 𝒚𝒐𝒏𝒂𝒄𝒉, who's been a great support in developing and pushing this project for St. Maarten. Welcome to my colleagues in disaster management, welcome to the 𝒐𝒂𝒄𝒉 team and everyone else present. So I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Angelique Gomes, and I am the manager of the Department of Interior and Kingdom Relations, which is better known as 𝒐𝒂𝒄. 𝒐𝒂𝒄 is a policy department within the Ministry of General Affairs, and we handle a number of policy areas. Support national development directions as politically chosen, including well-balanced cooperation with foreign parties, recruit, contract, support, and maintain financial donors for St. Maarten, initiate policies and take the lead in proposing law and directives aimed at obtaining and maintaining high-quality public governance, promote sound and well-balanced relations within the kingdom, coordinate, develop, execute, monitor, and evaluate integrated development and cooperation projects and programs, promote adequate arrangements and solid preventive and repressive curative provision for national security, and that is where this project falls. national security is split into two areas: natural disasters and man-made disasters. So just to give you an idea as to some of the projects that we have ongoing with disaster risk management, we have the Fostering Resilient Crisis Management Project, which is the FCRM project, also a RESEMBID funded project that is being implemented by the VNGI. This project aims at providing several trainings, including the upcoming HUREX training, which is the annual hurricane drill. This project also supports training of trainers that are currently training and will also graduate within short. And this project also supports the development of the necessary standard operating procedures. In addition to this, we also have the comprehensive framework for the operationalization for the Office of Disaster Management based on a comprehensive disaster management approach. Now that's a mouthful, but basically what this is an Office for Disaster Management. We have a section disaster management that has been legislated, and we currently have one staff member. This project proposes to support that staff member with further development of a complete office that will anchor disaster management as a 365-a-day-year endeavor for St. Maarten. Another project that is not listed here, but I must highlight it because I see 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓 in the room as well, is the project of technical assistance that is being supported by SOFRECO, where CERT, Community Emergency Response Teams, are being trained. Those trainings actually happened up until last night. So that is also a big achievement for St. Maarten in training the community. So, before we delve into the details of the project, of course, I must highlight that this project allows us to achieve the National Development Theme 3, Goal 18, which is National Security Measures Improved. Improved national security measures are in place to protect the lives and safety of the people of St. Maarten. This project also helps us to achieve SDG 11, which is make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. SDG 13 is also being achieved as we take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. All right, so now we get into the details of the project. This project aims at developing a framework for an end-to-end early warning system for St. Maarten, the development of a governance and operational framework for early warning systems on St. Maarten, the development of common alerting protocols, CAP, for multi-hazard early warning systems, standard messaging with awareness methods, a feasibility study resulting in outcome of most suitable mass notification public warning system, including cost, maintenance, legislative requirements, and training needs. With an end-to-end early warning system, it is meant that the emphasis is placed on the end user. With that, standard messaging will be developed to allow ease of understanding for the community. Governance and operational framework is needed as we need to anchor, for example, who will warn, when we will warn. Common alerting protocols for multi-hazard early warning system allows for the simultaneous dissemination of messages over a variety of mass notification systems. And of course, a feasibility study. A feasibility study is required to determine what is the most suitable and feasible system for St. Maarten. As you can imagine, today, with all the technology that we have, just a horn system will not do it anymore. The technology is actually the last stop in this trajectory, as it is important that we determine which technology will penetrate to our population even further. For example, a horn system will not penetrate to areas such as Dutch Quarter, St. Peter's. These are areas behind hilly terrain. In addition to that, We need to also take into consideration residents, communities that are, for example, hearing impaired. Therefore, the feasibility study will determine the most suitable outcome, even if it's multi-layered for St. Maarten. The project activities are the mapping of the early warning system network, a knowledge attitude practice survey, a disaster information management system, governance framework with standardized messaging in various languages and signage, facilitated workshops and exercise. One would think that we would already have who the early warning network is. In actuality, this network needs to be mapped and documented. A knowledge, attitude, and practice survey will allow us to determine what messaging has effects on our population. As you can imagine, as the Prime Minister stated, we have a very diverse population, notwithstanding the number of tourists that we have on an annual basis. A disaster information management system will allow us to document disasters, including store historical data. Standardized messaging in various languages and signage. Now, this is my favorite of all. I'm sure you remember in the COVID-19 pandemic that government ensured that messages went out in various languages. That is a lesson learned. A lesson learned at that time as well was the simplified manner of having a speaker car driving through neighborhoods to give those messages across. Facilitated workshops and exercise. A horn system would be nice, but if the horns go off and you don't know what to do, it's just noise. So the budget for this is €304,000, 606. We have 14 months to get this project done. The terms of reference is already ready and will be published within short. So those interested could always view government's website for that terms of reference. The outcomes that we will be getting from this project: governance and operational framework. Operational framework: who does what, when, where, and how. Common alerting protocol for multi-hazard early warning system. Standard messaging and signage, again my favorite, as we will be getting signage for low-lying areas, flood zones, tsunami zones, and with signage, I'm not referring to banners or digital boards, but actual signage. Enhanced institutional capacity, concrete determination of most suitable and sustainable mass notification public warning system. In closing, I thank you for your attention, and I look forward to everyone's input in this room. In particular, the input of our 3 emergency services, as they play a vital role at the forefront of early warning. This project is a community project, meaning we will also be going into the various communities of St. Maarten, as messaging will be your responsibility. Furthermore, we also expect, from a technological perspective, that we will be able to determine which technology is most suitable. We've been discussing thus far mass notification systems that are able to do a horn system, cell broadcasts, and SMS text. It's very much possible that it will end to be all 3, maybe 1, or maybe even more. Hence the need for the feasibility study to have a solid outcome and justification, to also outline the cost and the maintenance that comes along with such technology, as it would be redundant for us to purchase technology that we are, 1, not able to maintain, 2, not able to operate. So I look forward to your continued support, and I thank the European Union for their continued support in all projects that we have ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gomes, for your opening remarks and presentation on the early warning system project. We're going to have now a video presentation by Mr. Jair Torres. Mr. Torres is the Program Management Officer, Regional Office for the Americas and the Caribbean, United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction.
Hi, good morning to everybody. My name is Jair Torres. I'm the Program Management Officer of UNDRR for the Americas and the Caribbean, based in Bridgetown, Barbados, and supporting the whole Caribbean region on elements of disaster risk reduction knowledge, as well as multi-hazard early warning systems. So I really would like to thank you for inviting UNDRR for the launch of this project on establishing the design, operations, and maintenance of an early warning system for San Martin. As you know, early warning systems has been shown as a good tool that can reduce damage and losses in about 30% when they are very well designed, very established, and very well implemented in each of the countries. These early warning systems are also part of the Sendai framework for disaster risk reduction. We see target G of the Sendai framework is already talking about countries really establishing by 2030 multi-hazard early warning systems, which are very important element for the whole DRR agenda. Saying this, and in part of the commitment that the UN has on mobilizing, disaster risk reduction within the sustainable development and within the adaptation agenda, the Secretary General of the UN, Antonio Guterres, has launched last year the initiative that is called Early Warning for All. And this initiative has this very interesting but also ambitious goal that everybody will be covered by early warning systems in the next 4 years. So by 2027 that everybody will be covered. And I'm really happy that you in San Martin are already establishing this group that will be really helping on the conception of multi-hazard early warning systems. And this group is very important because it is essential that early warning systems will be considered in a holistic approach, not only as the technical part that early warning systems are. And when I mean about the holistic approach, we are talking about that there is a good understanding about the disaster risk in San Martin, what are the different hazards that the country is exposed to, and what are the more vulnerable assets and populations that we need to take into consideration in order to cover all of them. Of course, the second pillar that is concerning observation, monitoring, and forecasting. So how, all of these scientific institutions like the meteorological agency, like the epidemiological services, like the geological surveys are really getting to really observe, monitor, and produce the warning when necessary. Third, is very important really to get the warning dissemination. So what are the levels of redundancy that we're going to have in order to disseminate the warning, how we have all the legislation that is in place in order to use all of the redundancy channels by mobile phones, by broadcasting, by radio, broadcasting messaging on the radio, on the television, on the social media. And fourth, but not less important, is about how we really improve the response capabilities of individuals, communities, business, and institutions that are really, that needs to be ready in order to respond, but also that have another complementary element in the response and recovery phase when a hazard has struck our communities. And last but not least, on the 4 elements of early warning systems, there is one that is very important, is about the governance for multi-hazard early warning systems. And that means how we really ensure coherence between the 4 elements of early warnings and how we translate that governance on specific roles and mandates for each of the institutions that are engaged on designing, implementing, developing, and monitoring multi-hazard early warning systems. So I'm very happy about this group. The only recommendation that I would like to stress here is the necessity to have an intersectorial and multisectorial approach that really see all of the elements for ensuring that we are having an efficient early warning systems and that the early warning systems really will be multi-hazard. The COVID pandemic and the hurricane season, they demonstrate, how these compounding and cascading effects we have. So there is not efficient early warning systems if we are not thinking in a multi-hazard perspective. So my invitation is really to you to start working on a multi-sectorial, multidisciplinary, and all sectors approach that ensure that we can pass from early warning to early action. I wish you all the best today, and we're really happy to contribute in the development of these multi-hazard early warning systems for St. Maarten today. Have a very nice day, and I wish you all a very productive lunch today.
That was the video presentation of Mr. Jair Torres. We're going to move now further with the presentation of Mr. 𝒚𝒂𝒄𝒉.
Your Excellencies, Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, the Honourable 𝒚𝒂𝒄𝒉, Ambassador Van Ness, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and those following us online, good afternoon. It's my pleasure today to be with you in person for the launch of this project. My Programme Director, Mr. Fabian McKinnon, wishes to convey to you personally, Prime Minister, and to you, Angelique, his regrets that he cannot celebrate this most important milestone for St. Maarten. He is deeply honoured to have been able to support, and that he personally and pointedly, as do I myself, appreciate the leadership that the Prime Minister has shown to make this change possible. Within the regional 𝒚𝒍𝒐𝒈𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒊𝒐𝒈 programme, I'm the lead for resilience. This is an important priority for the programme, with the objective of supporting the 12 overseas countries and territories to adapt to extreme natural weather events and shocks. And we currently provide technical assistance to 19 resilience projects in the region. Disaster risk reduction is an important approach to building resilience in the Caribbean. It has demonstrated that it saves lives and money. Academic studies have established that for every dollar spent in preparedness and prevention can save from $3 to $15 in disaster losses. Early warning systems are an integral part of disaster risk management. Unfortunately, only half of the countries worldwide report having a satisfactory multi-hazard early warning system. And that figure falls even lower for small island developing states and for least developed countries, although most agree that this is a priority. So the project launched today reflects the commitment of the government of St. Maarten and the vision to addressing the gap and to build a more comprehensive disaster management approach. By embarking on such a change, the island is contributing to the global and regional efforts to reach the target of early warning for all by 2027. More importantly, it is embracing an approach that is not only multi-hazard, but also end-to-end and people-centered. We've heard from the presentation that the governance and operational framework will address all 4 key elements of effective early warning. So we're talking about good risk knowledge, about good forecasting, good warning and dissemination, and finally, importantly, preparedness on the ground. So 𝒚𝒍𝒐𝒈𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏 is providing technical assistance to 2 of the overseas countries and territories on early warning systems. We've heard this, the other one being in Aruba. In St. Maarten, this will be the 3rd project, as was presented, to strengthen disaster risk management. The 𝒚𝒍𝒐𝒈𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏 team and 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓 France, which is the French Technical Cooperation Agency, we are honoured and proud to be partners of the government of St. Maarten in this endeavour. And we reiterate our commitment to work side by side with 𝒐𝒈 and to support the sharing of experiences and learning with the other 11 overseas countries and territories of the Caribbean, in particular as it relates to multi-hazard, end-to-end, and people-centered early warning systems. If we've learned anything from the past few decades, it is that you cannot focus on technology alone. That the most important is the last mile of the system, which is the people. All solutions must be tailored to the needs of the local communities and fully involve them in all aspects of the system. At this point, we would like to recognize the European Union, without which this program wouldn't exist, as well as for its strong leadership globally and regionally for disaster resilience. A special note of appreciation, I believe, is well deserved. So now to conclude, early warning systems are widely viewed as low-hanging fruit to tackle growing risk of severe weather events and other impacts of climate change. Early warning systems provide a tenfold return on investment. Just 24 hours warning before a storm or heat wave can cut ensuing losses by up to 30%, according to the Adapt Now flagship report. So let us work together to reach the 2027 target of early warning for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edward Terville, for your opening remarks. I would like to thank you all for your presence today. And on behalf of the Department of Interior and Kingdom Relations, we would like to wish all much success with this project and have a great day further.